Today on eNEWS, how a not-for-profit organization is honoring fallen veterans, how local campgrounds are gearing up for the season with COVID-19 restrictions, and why Waterton Lakes National Park is preparing for another record-setting summer. Hello and welcome to eNEWS. I'm Josiah Spiker.
And I'm Sylvia Adams.
And here is today's top story. Unmarked graves for veterans in southern Alberta, marking their lives and sacrifices, are being highlighted thanks to a not-for-profit organization. The Last Post Fund's mission is to ensure that no veteran is forgotten and denied a dignified funeral. Jackson McGinn reports on how it's been operating.
The Last Post Fund and the Unmarked Grave Program are supported by Veterans Affairs Canada and donations from Canadians across the nation. Launched in 1909, the fund had arranged for the funeral and burial of over 150,000 veterans. In 1996, the Unmarked Grave Program was created. Glenn Miller is a member of the Last Post Fund. He says every veteran who serves should be remembered for their sacrifice.
We're asking this to grow across Canada because Canadians and Canada is our one community. And so we're just a small portion of that, but this is a pan-Canadian effort. Veterans serve from Canada from coast to coast to coast.
5 of these men are receiving gravestones at Mount View Cemetery. And Joseph Thomas Patrick Fredrickson had died in 1960, but had served in the 78th Battalion. And this photo was taken May 16, 1918. The Last Post Fund owns and operates its own Field of Honors in Pointe Claire, Quebec. And over 22,000 burials have been made since 1930. The researching process it used was from the Field of Honor, but as a process moves along, it became more challenging identifying the veterans and their resting places. Many veterans' grave sites had been left unmarked for years. Following decades of research efforts, veterans' identities have been found, and they will receive official military headstones.
With these additional 9 new markers, that'll bring us in Lethbridge, the Mountain View Cemetery. You'll notice different fields of honor with a lot of stones in them. But Veterans Affairs is responsible for 1,250 of those markers.
Jackson McGinn, eNEWS.
The Last Post Fund has helped more than 145,000 veterans be buried, not only in Canada, but around the world, including countries like the United States, Britain, and Australia.
Construction is underway on the new Lethbridge and District Exhibition Agri-Food and Trade Center. Premier Jason Kenney was in Lethbridge Wednesday to help kick off the 2-year project. The $70.6 million development will be part of Lethbridge's future and will help spark the economy of the region. The new building will be over 266,000 square feet. The north, south, and main pavilions will be demolished in the redevelopment process. The project is expected to create 300 to 400 jobs during the construction phase alone. The new facility will feature energy-efficient materials such as LED lighting and a new heat exchange system. Premier Jason Kenney says the center will be critical for Alberta's agri-food and farm sector.
As part of the larger redevelopment, the agri-food hub will serve as an anchor for growth in Lethbridge's value-added food sector while continuing to diversify Alberta's economy and providing a local market for farmers in southern Alberta.
The completion of the building is anticipated to be in late December of 2022, with an official opening in January 2023. Local campgrounds expect another surge in reservations this spring and summer due to COVID-19. Operators say they realized the boom effect due to the pandemic a year ago. I ventured out to see what the attraction is.
Southern Alberta winds are blowing in this spring, and local campground operators are taking notice. Last year at this time, local campgrounds were already booming with campers. Park Lake experienced a 30% increase in usage. Alberta Parks Simon Wilkins says he expects Park Lake to be fully booked this camping season.
What we expect for this year based on the reservations is we expect the park is going to be, fully booked or close to fully booked for the whole season. And if group camping opens up, that will also quickly become booked up.
Wilkins adds that some people who have never camped before are now considering it. They view it as a safe alternative to staying home. Bridgeview RV Resort is already. Manager Kathy Reguer says this year Bridgeview is going to have even more campers. Reguer says in the last 2 weeks, all of Bridgeview's 28-day sites have been filled.
We're expecting this year to be bigger than last year for sure. We're seeing that a lot of people are tired of being confined, and they want to get out and they want to experience travel and experience holidays again.
Reguer says in the last 2 weeks, all of Bridgeview's 28-day sites have been filled. Both campgrounds are enforcing the outdoor social gathering restriction, which is limited to 10 people. They also encourage social distancing, which is keeping 2 meters between yourself and others at all times. To keep everyone safe, both campgrounds ask their visitors and campers to abide by public health guidelines.
If people don't voluntarily follow COVID-19 restrictions at Park Lake, enforcement staff will be brought in to help. At Bridgeview, the police will be called if a situation gets out of control.
As the spring-like temperatures arrive in southern Alberta, local greenhouses are busy preparing for the upcoming season. Carson Marsouk is standing by with more. Carson?
Thanks, Josiah. As a result of many Canadians spending more time indoors in 2020, local greenhouses say they have seen an increase of people getting outside to plant flowers and vegetables. I talked to a couple local greenhouses around Lethbridge to see what kind of preparations are being done this season. Spring has sprung in southern Alberta. Lethbridge has seen above seasonal temperatures for the last few weeks, and local greenhouses say people are itching to get outside and start planting. Greenhouses have begun planting seeds, bringing in soil amendments, and trying to time everything perfectly with the weather. Horticulturalist Dustin Napper says staff are quickly preparing the greenhouse for the season, but he reminds people it is still too early to start planting.
A lot of people are excited with the weather right now, but we're still probably at least a month before we'd really start thinking about planting.
Greenhouses are also anticipating a busy season. The pandemic has made people focus on their homes, with many wanting to create an outdoor living space. Country Blooms Garden Center owner Eric Dick says his last season was great, and he's hoping to have a repeat this spring with COVID-19 protocols still in place.
It was amazing. Again, we had no idea if we were going to be able to open it all. All through March and April, we were closed. And we opened on May the 4th last year. And it was a really good experience.
Greenhouse staff recommend people wait until May long weekend before purchasing their flowers and vegetables to plant. They also say to watch the forecast, as frost is common during spring mornings. Experts say there are benefits to gardening, including improving people's mental health. People are encouraged to get outside this spring and enjoy the fresh air and sunshine. Both Napper and Dick say there are many great reasons to garden, but people are not fully aware of all the great benefits that come with it.
The therapy is huge. The mental health therapy, but physical therapy as well. It's movement, it's exercise, it's squatting, bending, lifting, stuff like that. But just the mental aspect of it all, people are anxious to plant things and grow things and have success with it.
And the other thing right now is vegetables are big. Growing your own garden, your own food, and knowing where that food comes from.
Carson, for people who may be new to gardening, what are some things they can do to help be successful in the planting process?
Josiah, people are encouraged to reach out to staff at the local greenhouse to ask any questions they may have. Dick says social media and YouTube are great resources for people to use and research anything they may be unsure about.
Thanks, Carson. In other news, the Downtown Business Revitalization Zone has a new chair and board member. Every March, Downtown BRZ holds a general annual meeting where its board changes. The owner of O2 Training Center is the new chair and board member of Downtown BRZ. Justin Tavernini is a longtime BRZ volunteer. Downtown BRZ has a goal of adding 3 new members to its board every year. A member can be on the board for 3 years, take a year off, and then get voted on again. Tavernini would like to see more support for businesses.
Business growth, business development, and entrepreneurship within the downtown, and shy away from housing and housing initiatives to help really support new local talent and business coming through our core.
Later this week, Tavernini plans on pitching a presentation to the board.
It's been a decade since St. Patrick's Church has been closed, but there is hope in the horizon for it to reopen, thanks to the efforts of the advocacy group Save Our Churches Association. St. Patrick's Church stands tall across from Lethbridge City Hall. The basement was built in 1903, while the cross-shaped top was built in the 1950s. The church is the property of the Diocese of Calgary. In 2011, then Bishop Frederick Henry ordered St. Patrick's to be closed, but recently the association received unofficial word from its lawyers that the highest court in the Vatican found the order from 2011 invalid.
The Save Our Church Association took their case to Rome, and the Apostolic Signatory heard the case. They have rendered a decision, but it's very similar to like the Supreme Court of Canada. They render a decision and then you wait for the 20-page follow-up, at which point in time the lawyers will go through.
At this point, it is uncertain when or if the church could reopen.
Speaking of reopenings, the city will be opening more pools in Lethbridge, but with restrictions. Due to COVID-19, many pools and recreation have been closed, but since the Alberta government has moved to stage 2, the city of Lethbridge has announced more pools will be opening with additional restrictions.
We had to rehire staff, test their lifeguarding skills, get them retrained because we hadn't been in the pool for so long.
For more information on class times and pool programming schedules, visit www.lethbridge.ca.
Waterton National Park is open for hiking trails and attractions. Even with social distancing and many pandemic restrictions, the national park still saw an increase of visitor attendance. Mario Cabradilla has more.
According to Tourism Lethbridge, Lethbridge is surrounded by 4 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. They provide ample opportunity for tourists to reconnect with nature. Among them is Waterton Lakes National Park.
So again, Lethbridge is an easy day trip from 4 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. The ones that come to my mind, and they're fantastic: Waterton Lakes National Park. That, as you know, it borders with Glacier National Park in the US.
Waterton is home to many attractions, including the iconic Prince of Wales, surrounded by picturesque mountains. Overlooking from the same spot beside the hotel is a scenic view of the upper Waterton Lakes. In a few minutes of drive to a corner of the town site stands the Cameron Falls, a landmark with a park easily accessible to any visitors. Despite COVID-19, the national park still saw an increase of visitor attendance. Waterton had about 410 visitor attendance for the 2018 to 2019 fiscal year, with an increase of about 50,000 visitor attendance last year. While most local businesses remain closed at the moment, Ross Ebel, owner of multiple businesses at the national park, expects an improved number of visitors coming this summer.
And so I think there should be more people. There's more here to do, but because Cameron and Red Rock are both open. And so that means the trails are there and people can hike and get out and enjoy the beauties of Waterton.
Mario Carbadilla, eNEWS.
A heads up for people planning to visit Waterton over the next week or so. Many businesses are still closed. They're expected to open at the middle of April. More information can be found at mywaterton.ca. Coming up after the break, how the college is making aquaponics more accessible, how alumni are reacting to the dissolvement of a Pronghorns hockey committee, and how people are getting outdoors to enjoy the spring weather. Horizons. I'm your host, Josiah Spiker, and today we have the chair of the massage therapy program, Brent Goudreau. Thanks for joining us, Brent.
Thank you for having me.
So how often are students on campus this semester?
So this term we have students on campus every day. We operate a student massage clinic that runs Monday through Friday evenings and then all day Saturday. And then we run face-to-face labs every day except for Fridays.
And what has been the biggest challenge this year with COVID-19?
So there's been a number of challenges. The biggest piece we've had is that massage inherently doesn't allow for the social distancing that everyone wants. Without a body to work on, there's no way to learn the practical hands-on skills. So finding a balance of proper PPE use, proper clinical hygiene and those pieces to ensure that we put students at the lowest risk has been the biggest work that we've done.
And the program received accreditation. How does that benefit the students?
So in March of last year, actually just about a year ago, we received national accreditation from the CMTCA. They're an accrediting body for massage therapy schools, essentially. And the biggest piece it gives our students is it gives them the opportunity to travel nationwide. The reason we pursued accreditation was that we were really wanting our graduates to have a diploma that was portable, where they could go anywhere in the country and be able to join the College of Massage Therapists there and work.
That's all the time we have for Campus Horizons. Thanks again for joining us. See you next time.
Welcome to your 5-day weather forecast provided by Environment Canada. I'm Sean Chose with the weather. Monday, we see windy conditions and a high of 14 with a low of 1. Tuesday, the wind's gone, clouds are here for the week, a high of 14 and a low of 3, which will be repeated throughout the week. Wednesday, we see a high of 16 with a low of 3, Thursday, a high of 14, and Friday, a high of 14 with a low of 1. Let's hope you can get out and enjoy this wonderful weather this week. I'm Sean Chose with your 5-day weather forecast.
Hi, welcome back to Hashtag. My name is Isaac, and today we're talking about racing. The F1 season is back, and if you're a little out of the loop, that's okay. Here's some shows you should watch to catch up on the world of Formula One. Drive to Survive is a Netflix original docuseries that follows Formula One teams, drivers, and management throughout the season. See the emotional behind the scenes of each race and the inner workings of the Formula One world. Season 3 is out now on Netflix, so be sure to check it out. Now, you're well versed in the Formula One world, but what about the history of the sport? You should watch Senna. Senna is a documentary on Netflix that follows the career of Formula One legend Ayrton Senna. We follow Senna through his early career in Brazil and his rise into Europe, where he becomes the Formula One champion 3 times. If you want to get into Formula One, these are the essential shows you need to watch. That's all for Hashtag. I'm Isaac. Till next time.
Thanks, Isaac. Lethbridge College is now offering a series of courses called Micro-Credentials in the area of aquaponics. As Alejandro Polito reports, it's an integrated system in which fish and plants are grown together in a bid to make gardening and food production sustainable.
There's more than fish in this tank. Lethbridge College believes there is a school of a different kind. Courses it's offering are designed to help those who are interested in aquaponics acquire knowledge in specific areas. The Aquaculture Center of Excellence says they are meant to address needs in the industry because it's hard to find people with real knowledge.
To educate people on how to properly do aquaponics, because if you go on the internet, there's a lot of misinformation, people trying to sell you things, and basically what we're trying to sell you is knowledge.
Someone who's already growing plants but lacks knowledge on fish production will benefit from taking that specific micro-credential. Each person can pick and choose the combination of modules that meets their different individual needs.
The aquaponics credentials were designed with the general public in mind. Anyone from high school students to interested amateurs to greenhouse technicians can take these courses. The fact that they are online makes them even more accessible.
The college defines a micro-credential as a bite-sized piece of education. Rather than a whole course, it's really focused on a very specific skill or competency.
Micro-credentials really give those people that just need to know what aquaponics is and kind of just wetting their toes into that world. The micro-credentials are an introduction to that base knowledge.
The first 2 micro-credential courses are available online: the Aquaponics Design Micro-Credential and Fish Production in Aquaponics. Alejandra Pulido, eNEWS.
More modules will be added in the months to come, and all 10 modules are expected to be available online by next spring.
Lethbridge College has received a $400,000 grant from the Government of Canada. The 2-year Equity, Diversity and Inclusion Institutional Capacity Building Grant will help the college identify systemic barriers that affect underrepresented groups within the college. The college says the grant money will be used to hire an EDI specialist.
Our primary goal is to hire an EDI strategist. So looking at ensuring that we are an inclusive institution, that we have diversity and equity in everything we do is really important.
The EDI work will be housed in the college's Center for Applied Research, Innovation and Entrepreneurship department.
Lethbridge College is developing a virtual reality training program for the School of Justice Studies, which began in 2018. Justice Studies is working on the project with individuals from various college programs. The project consists of filming scenes in 360-degree immersive video with actors, then creating a virtual reality scenario for students. Depending on a student's interaction with the scene, it can lead to different scenes. The college says the project will allow students to be more confident and prepared with real-life scenarios.
We have to videotape every one of those as a possibility of what the interaction could be. So anything that could possibly happen, we have to have a scenario for.
Mays is hoping for VR to be a part of the criminal justice curriculum by winter 2021. However, Mays also says the college has been optimistic the research will benefit not only a single program but across multiple programs in the college.
With warmer weather in southern Alberta, many people are taking the opportunity to get outside. Walking and cycling have become increasingly popular activities. Nathan Ryder reports.
These days, people are taking the time to get outside and enjoy the weather as a way of staying safe during the pandemic. Many trails have been populated by walkers and cyclists in the past couple of weeks. Gord Watt is an athletic therapist who has gone on a walk every day for over a year without a day off.
I walked for about 45 minutes, and I just kept doing it every day. And I think it was about day 40 something that I said, holy smokes, I've walked every day.
Because of the outdoor nature of cycling, Ascent Cycle has seen an increase in business despite maintaining a smaller inventory. Owner Adam Dool says cycling has many advantages.
You can go out and ride your bike 2 in the morning if you want. So, I mean, and I've seen huge growth, and especially on the mountain bike side of things, and especially like that younger generation riding. 5 years ago, I was starting to wonder, I'm like, kids don't mountain bike anymore. You just don't see them on the trails. Now when I go out, I see groups of all these little individuals just shredding it up.
Dool says that the shop has had to carry lower inventory even with increased demand because of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Carry probably 20% of the inventory that we normally do. So, and when the bikes come in, 90% of them are pre-sold.
Like many others throughout COVID-19, Watt had his life basically come to a halt. He says the routine of going for a walk helped him stay positive.
It's critical for my mental health. I can't really explain why, but I just, I'm not bouncing off walls.
Activities are outdoors. All public health guidelines and social distancing measures must be followed. For eNEWS, I'm Nathan Ryder.
More information about various walking and cycling paths can be found at the City of Lethbridge's website. The University of Lethbridge has decided to discontinue the Hockey Advisory Committee. It was put in place in a bid to try to save the Pronghorns hockey teams, disbanded after budget cuts from the provincial government. I spoke to 2 committee members to get their reaction to the decision.
Gives it for Valentine. Shot, score! Clark on the deflection in front.
The U of L discontinued both the men's and women's hockey teams last spring. However, it put in place the Hockey Advisory Committee to try and come up with a new funding model to keep the teams afloat. That committee has now also been shut down, and in a statement from the university, President and Vice Chancellor Mike Mann said provincial budget cuts are to blame. Former committee member and Pronghorns alumni Dino Caputo says he felt completely blindsided by the university's decision.
I was very disappointed and tremendously hurt by is an alumni of 5 years, a coach of 4 years. You know, I was on the committee of the alumni for 10, so this is 20 years of my life we're talking about here.
The university's statement detailed a larger than anticipated cut of $5.7 million, adding on to an existing $10 million cut over the last 2 years. The university is also expecting an additional 5.5% cut next year. Mike Mann declined a request for an interview, but in the university's statement, he says the money they would have to put in would be too substantial. Former chair of the Hockey Advisory Committee, Dan LaPlante, says the committee proposed a 2/3 community-funded model, with the university being on the hook for $220,000. LaPlante says he can't see the teams coming back anytime in the near future, unless the university's priorities change and it's willing to help out financially.
If it can't come back with a 1/3 commitment from the university, like this was a U of L Pronghorns men and women's team. The university has to have skin in the game.
Before the teams were shut down, LaPlante had donated $125,000 to the women's team. He says he's worried about how losing 2 hockey teams will impact the community.
Many people will be wearing green on Wednesday to celebrate Green Shirt Day, raising awareness about the importance of organ donation. Green Shirt Day was started in 2019 following the Humboldt Broncos bus crash. Logan Boulay was one of the players who passed away as a result, but his organs were donated to help save the lives of others. His father says the goal of Green Shirt Day is to spread the message of organ donation awareness.
Go out and with a friend, if you can, walk 6 feet apart and enjoy the day. Hopefully it's a nice sunny day, and think about organ donation and talk to somebody. It's that conversation that's so important, because every person that registers, it creates a conversation. They tell 4 people, these are the stats, of course, they tell 4 people on average, and by telling those 4 people, it goes on and goes on.
People are encouraged to wear any form of green, and more information on organ donation and Green Shirt Day can be found at greenshirtday.ca.
What's poppin', folks? Welcome. This is Trout Snacks Top 5, and today I'm going to be giving you my top 5 flies for March. Coming in at number 5, we've got the size 12 to 16 squirmy worm. It's a bit of a dirty taboo fly to use, but it works especially well for the colder months and as an attractor pattern, so give this fly a shot. At number 4, we've got the size 14 to 18 rainbow warrior. Its small but flashy profile is super enticing to fish and works well as another weighted attractor. At number 3, we have the white or black woolly bugger. Streamers can be super effective on those warmer days or when that water is a bit off color, so this one's a go-to. At number 2, I've got the Frenchy nymph. This is a more natural pattern, but its hotspot is a great way to entice some fish. At number 1, I'm bringing you dry fly, which is a size 16 to 18 sparkle dun. It's a time of year where we can expect some blue-winged olives for the trout to start sipping, so having a few dries and emergers in your box is a must. So, there you have it. Remember to pinch those barbs, take your gloves off, and keep them wet. Tight lines out there.
Thanks, Jake. I'm sure there'll be a lot of fishing stories coming out this weekend. Do you have any plans for the long weekend, Sylvia?
Yes, I do. I plan on going home, spending time with my family, doing homework, and just enjoying the Easter weekend.
That sounds nice. I'll be sitting at home in a constant state of loneliness. That's all we have for eNEWS today. From all of us here at Lethbridge College eNEWS, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.